His wife after the war was Annette Vance, and then they had a daughter, Joan Bolton, my grandma. Then the daughter had two sons, Mark Shwelly and Dean Shwelly. Mark is my dad, and me and my sister Hannah are his great-grandchildren.
Hello, my name is Isaac, and today I'm talking about my veteran Arthur Nealon. He was born July 29, 1898. He was born in Richmond, Ontario. His father was Samuel Nealon. He was a farmer. He was 5 feet tall, had hazel eyes, had dark hair, and was a Methodiot. He was enlisted June 19, 1918. He was enlisted in Regina. His regiment number was 344-936. His regiment was the 1st Depot. His residence was Richmond, West Quebec. He died in 1969 at age 71.
Is Martin Nixon Rowe. He was born January 13th, 1887. He was born in Crystal City, Manitoba. His parents were Anne Jane Nixon and Thomas Ogden Rowe. His sisters were Nettie Rowe, Alberta Rowe, and Lila Rowe. He was a horseman before he became part of the army. He was 5 foot 1/3 inch. He had blue eyes and dark hair. He was a Methodist. He was enlisted June 15th, 1917, Crystal City, Manitoba. His regiment number was 2006-380. He was single, and he died in 1984 at the age of 87.
Hi, my name's Sasha Rogers, and my veteran is George Frederick Swift. He was born November 5th, 1897, here in Ottawa. He had a brother named Sidney Swift. He was not married and did not have any kids. His job was a farmer, and he was enlisted on March 28, 1916, in Beamsville, Ontario. He joined the Marine Force when he was 19 and was assigned regiment number 211206. And he was in the 98th Battalion. He was 5 foot 8, had blue eyes and red hair. His religion was with the Church of England. He had a fair complexion, and unfortunately he died in 1983 and is currently buried in the Richmond Anglican Cemetery. He was very brave.
Hi, my name is Curtis. My veteran's name was Edward Dubroy. He was born May 8, 1886 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. His father's name was William Dubroy. He had no brothers and sisters. His job was a lumberman. He was 5 foot 8. His eyes were brown. His hair was black. His religion was Roman Catholic. He enlisted December 1st, 1915 in North Bay, Ontario. His regiment number was 648265. His regiment was 189 Battalion. He was single. He died January 12, 1923 at the age of 36. He's currently buried at the Richmond Catholic Cemetery.
Hello, my name is Tina, and I'd like to tell you about my veteran, Frank James Featherston. He was born October 28th. He was born at the 7th Concession, Goulburn, Canada. His wife is Evelyn Featherston. His job was a carpenter. He was 5 foot 9. His eyes are gray. His hair color is black and gray. His religion is Church of England. His date of enlistment was June 23rd, 1916. His regiment number is 246535. His regiment is the 207th Battalion. The year of his death was 1968. He is buried at Monster Hill Cemetery. He was 90 when he died.
Hey guys, I'm Justin, and my veteran's name is Edward John Bird. His date of birth is June 1st, 1892. His place of birth was in London, England. And he had a sister, and her name was Florence Bird. His job was a farm labor. Edward John Bird's height was 5 foot 7 inches. His eye color was gray, had dark brown hair, and his religion was Methodist or United. His date of enlistment was on March 21st, 1916. His place of enlistment was in Ottawa, Ontario. His regiment number was 145822. His regiment was the 87th Battalion. He was married and his wife's name was Etta Healy. He had no children and his date of death was on June 10th, 1917. His age of death was at 25 and his place of burial was in Munster Cemetery. He can be found in page 201 in the Book of Remembrance and was in the Battle of Arras at Messines. He was also buried in Calais, France, at the cemetery of Nouveau-les-Mines Communal Cemetery.
Hi, my name is Michael, and my veteran is Francis Edwards. He was born on September 15, 1893, on Township of Lanark-Carleton County, Ontario, Canada, to John Edwards. He was a wiper in roundhouse and was 5 foot 10 inches. His eyes were blue and his hair was dark brown. He was Presbyterian and enlisted on May 20th, 1916. His regiment number was 267981 and was given the 214th Regiment. He was married to Florence H. O'Neill and died on 1999. He died at the age of 106 and his cemetery was Dwyer Hill.
Hello, my name is Ethan McIntyre, and I want to tell you about my veteran, Robert Hill. His date of birth is December 18th, 1895. His place of birth was Munster, Ontario. His parents were Mr. Samuel Hill, Colony Hill, and Sarah A. Hill. He didn't have any brothers or sisters. His job was a storekeeper. His height was 5 feet 8 inches. His eye color was blue. His hair color was fair. Religion was Methodist. His place of enlistment was date of enlistment was on the 11th of October 1917. The place of enlistment was Ottawa, Ontario. Regiment number was 957834. His regiment was the 2nd Depot. Date of birth was the 12th of August 1881. Age of death was 86 and he married Lilla Rowe.
His name is James McCarthy. He was born in 1882. His dad died, and he had his mom for most of his life. He was a harness maker, and he was 5 foot with 8 inches. He had blue eyes, and his hair was dark. He enlisted on May 22nd of 1916 and ended it in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. His regiment number is 255838. His regiment is 210. He was married to Mary Alice. He died at the age of 36 on the 14th of September. He's buried at Richmond Cemetery on Vimy Ridge. He died in the Battle of Arras. He can be found on page 453 of Remembrance book. He was in the 1st Mounted Rifles.
Hello, I'm Robbie Chisholm, and today I will be telling you about my great-grandfather, William Alexander Chisholm, who served in the First World War. He enlisted on January 31st, 1916, and was assigned to the 119th Overseas Battalion from Province Bay, Ontario. He served in France for 7 months and then joined the Royal Air Force. He was discharged on December 6, 1918, as a second lieutenant. While he survived the war, he struggled with breathing the rest of his life as a result of the mustard gas he encountered while fighting in France. My great-grandfather was born on December 15th, 1895, and was the third child in his family. He had an older sister, Maud, and an older brother, John, and a younger brother, Herman, who was called Duff. Here's his picture. My great-grandfather died on May 4th, 1956. Here's a picture with my dad, me, and my grandmother at his grave in Capriola, Ontario in 2011. The next 2 pages are his escutcheon papers, which he signed. My father contacted the National Archive in England and was able to get his war records for his time in the Royal Air Force. My grandmother loaned me my great-grandfather's uniform. Here's what his hat looks like. On his sleeve jacket, there is one strip which says he is a second lieutenant. Second lieutenant. There are 4 arrows called chevrons, which indicate 4 years of service. Here's me dressed in his uniform.
Hello, my name's Aidan, and I'd like to tell you about my veteran, Robert Toombs. His regiment number was 1075098. His date of birth was November 1871. He was born in Smith Falls, Ontario. He worked as a carpenter. He was 5'7". His eye color was gray. His hair color was gray. He was Jewish. He enlisted May 29th, 1916. He enlisted in Ottawa and was part of the 4th Pioneer Battalion. He was single. His sister was Miss Geo Bavti. He died at the age of 35, and he died died the 15th of August, 1951, and is buried in
Hi, my name's Aidan, and the veteran I'm doing is Robert Lauren Falls. He was born on September 24th, 1892, in Carleton. His parent was Mrs. Robert Falls. He had no brothers and sisters, and his job before he went to war was a farmer. He was 5'5", and his eye color was hazel, and his hair color was brown. His religion is a Methodist, and the date of enlistment was July 10th, 1916. He was enlisted in Ottawa, and his regiment number was 246582, Regiment 207th. He died April 9th, 1918. in the Munster Cemetery. He was 26 when he died, and he died in Hill 70. He was also buried in Stables, Belgium, and he's in page 405 in the Book of Remembrance.
My veteran's name is Robert Erling Lester Hill. He was born on the 18th of December, 1893, in Munster, Ontario. His parents were Mr. Samuel Conley Hill and Sarah M. Hill. He was an only child, and he was a storekeeper. He was 5'8" with blue eyes, and his hair was fair. He was Methodist. His date of enlistment is June 5th, 1918, in Ottawa. His regiment number is 3323793. He was in his 2nd Depot. After the war, he got married to Leela Rowe.
Hi, I'm Peyton, and today I will talk to you about my World War veteran, John P. Morton. He was born on July 9, 1894, in Horwick, Scotland. John P. Morton's father was John Morton of Horwick, Scotland, and he had no siblings. His wife was named Annie G. He was born in Horwick, Scotland, but he grew up in Winnipeg and worked as a bank clerk. His date of enlistment was June 15th, 1917, and his place of enlistment was in Ottawa, where he was given the regiment number 2265728, and his regiment was working on a railroad. John P. Morton attended the Catholic Church of England. His height was 5'10", his hair color was brown, and his eye color was blue, and he had a fair complexion. Sadly, he died at the age of 74 in 1978, and he is currently buried in the Richmond Presbyterian Cemetery. Well, that is the end of my presentation on John P. Morton. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Rita. I'm going to be talking about Peter Haggerty. He was born on October 30th, 1888. He was born in London, England. His father was John, and he had one brother. His job was railroad construction. He was 5'11". He had blue eyes, dark brown hair. He was Roman Catholic. His date of enlistment was July 26, 1918. His place of enlistment was Ottawa. His regiment number was 633689. His regiment was the 49th. His death was 1974. When he died, he was 86, and he was buried in Dwyer Hill.
Hello, my name is Owen. I'd like to tell you about my veteran, Russell Tubman. The date of his birth was April 30, 1894. His date of birth was Ashton, Ontario. His parents was William Tubman of Munster and Elizabeth Jane Tubman. His brothers and sisters were Joanna, Mildred, Mary, 3 of 4, blah blah blah. Job was a civil servant. Height was 5'9". His eye color was brown. Hair color was brown, like me. His election was Presbyterian. Date of enlistment was March 31, 1916. Place of enlistment, Ottawa. His regiment number was 318942. His regiment was 50th Battalion. He's married on September 12, 1922. His wife was Margaret Black Pitchard. He had no children. Nope, none. His date of death was 1990. His age of death